Hey everybody, it's Super Wrestling Fun Time here with our weekly review. So I'm Dan.
And I'm Jeff. And today we are going to do our This Week in WWE show, starting with Monday Night Raw. So I think the big takeaway from Raw this week is that the Kevin Owens story, the first thing they showed from his story of being the champion,
Yeah.
other than that really good video package.
Yeah, that video package was amazing.
Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley.
Yeah.
So we've got another World Championship story about the Authority. So
Yep.
That's super fun, right?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on this. I did think that was one of the only Steph promos in like the last couple of years that I've actually kind of enjoyed, because it wasn't just her being a complete bitch to everyone and unnecessarily evil. But I have the bad feeling that this is just her playing up the part of innocent so that she can eventually later down the road reveal, oh my god, I am the unnecessarily evil bitch that you didn't think I was, but everyone actually knew I was. So I don't hold high hopes for it.
I agree that it's, I think definitely one of the best Stephanie McMahon promos in a long time, because she was actually vulnerable, and that character never is.
Yep.
So that was a nice change, and I liked that they established the dynamic of Mick Foley can actually function as an equal with Stephanie McMahon, because he's known her for so long that he kind of knows how to read her and manipulate her a little bit.
Yeah, and he sees her as more than just what everyone else is seeing her as. Like, he remembers her before she became kind of this weird, crazy totalitarian leader of Raw.
Yeah, because he watched her grow up, so to a certain extent, she's still that little girl to him. And so it did give them finally some kind of character dynamic that makes sense, as opposed to Stephanie McMahon hired this guy that she should ostensibly hate to run her show for no explicable reason.
Yeah.
Given that he's tried to murder her husband on, like, at least 6 occasions.
Yeah. Well, and it just seemed like it was a weird choice, because if she was just someone that was terrible at her job but wanted people to like her, it would make sense to hire Foley, but she's been presented as terrible at her job and doesn't give a crap about what people think about her. So for her to hire Foley to save face made no sense.
Yeah, so like they never really examined why she would do that until now, so I appreciate that that happened.
Yeah.
But they're also setting up the Universal title picture to be it's going to be about Triple H and Stephanie, and not Kevin Owens and his challengers.
Yeah, that's what I'm really worried about.
Really something I care about, because they've done that for, I think the Authority's been on TV for 2.5 years now.
Yep.
And I was tired of them about 6 weeks in.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like I think Owens will be fine, but it does detract from the amazing character that Owens has built of, like, a guy who, he is a heel, but he's not, like, evil. He's just in it for himself, in it for his own reasons. He's smart, like really smart, and knows how to manipulate and how to work and how to beat out the guys that may be more athletic than him or maybe stronger than him. Like, he's built a really cool character for himself, and then to, like, have his championship reign overshadowed by this stupid background Authority story, which is not really the background, it's more the foreground, really sucks.
Well, I think there's a chance that, like, as a character, Kevin Owens is kind of ideally suited for an Authority story to not really hurt him, because he cares about the prize, not the other stuff. Yeah. And his opening promo really showed that he's got the title, so how he got there,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
What leads to him keeping it doesn't matter. And also, the fact that he turned the crowd on him so quickly
that was so good.
Just masterful.
Yeah. Like I don't think I've ever seen a guy turn a crowd on him that fast, using exactly what the crowd was doing to him against them. Like he didn't just go like, "Oh, your sports team sucks." Like he actually used what they were doing against them, which was amazing.
Yeah, like how dare you steal my spotlight and make it about you?
Yeah.
Instead of the Seth Rollins, like local sports teams are bad.
Yeah. That was amazing. I also loved him and Jericho, and I hope they keep pointing it out as his like championship reign goes on. He is the longest running Universal Champion ever. And 7 days. 7 days.
That was the best joke.
And then I just can't wait for next week when it's 14 days. 14 days. This just won't stop.
It's like the reverse of that CM Punk title reign where they would announce how many days he was the champion after he hit like 200 and some.
Yeah.
It's going to be the reverse, where they're just going to keep announcing it every single week.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, look, I've been champion for 22 days.
I'm really excited for the stupid shenanigans of him and Jericho with him being champion. Also,
it actually kind of reminds me of the stuff Jericho would do when he was the undisputed champion.
Mm-hmm.
Except now he's just sort of a sidekick manager guy instead of doing it for himself.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that they didn't break up that team with Owens' championship run. Like they've kept the two of them together, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a crack between the two of them.
Yeah, I think it seems like they're going to keep this going for at least through the Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going to at least keep it going through that, which is cool because they could really just make the entire second hour them having a conversation, and it would probably be more entertaining than whatever else they had planned to do.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Also, the one thing, not to get sidetracked, but, well, it's not really sidetracked. It's within the same thing of what we're talking about. I felt like, and even just talking about this, I realize how much of an afterthought it is. The whole adding Reigns to the picture seemed really weird. Like, it really felt like an afterthought. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't actually... I mean, I get that he should be sort of hanging around because he was screwed out of the title just as much as Rollins was.
Mm-hmm.
But until Triple H comes back and actually sets up sort of what his position is and why he did that, Reigns being inserted just felt like they were forcing him in there. It really felt like a Vince move.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can have the fat guy wrestle this, like, skinny guy who can't really talk, but you have to have my giant muscle man in there too.
Yeah, it was really weirdly forced, especially the way they set up the whole thing, because it was just like we had the Owens and Rollins story going through the whole episode, and then like, within the last 5 minutes, Reigns just walks out, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna give you a chance to be in the match too, because reasons." And it was just like, well, that was weird. Like he does have a legitimate like reason to want to be in that title picture, but it still felt a little forced. And then at the same time, once Reigns pops in, shouldn't at the same time Cass start making some sort of a bid? Like even though he has the least legitimate claim, it seems weird.
No, Big Cass has to lose to the Shining Stars.
Yeah, wow, that was
a very important job.
That was a real downfall for that. It was a title picture to the Shining Stars. That was quite the jump.
Anything else about the stuff with Universal title before we move on?
No, I'm a little disappointed that they've just dropped the Reigns Rusev bit, because that was building to be kind of cool, and they finally got Reigns where they wanted him to be cheered. So I just find it weird that they're pulling him straight out of it. But other than that, doesn't even really have to do with that.
Very much like not quite a panic move, but it seemed very short-sighted to shove him back into the Universal title picture immediately, when even just waiting and doing it next week, they could have made the episode about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been a smoother story than just sort of shotgunning him into it at the end. And also, making Roman Reigns functionally the main event of the show.
Yeah.
He's the one standing tall with his music playing when the credits roll.
Yeah, and all he did was walk to the ring. He didn't hit anyone, he didn't fight. Oh no, I guess he speared Jericho, but still, even then, it was just like, for the most part, he just walked to the ring, and then they're like, Reigns is amazing, and you're, well, no, the crowd's still not behind him.
Yeah, like,
you guys
can't have a Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens match and not have Owens be the babyface.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't, Owens is very, very good at manipulating the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But even that's going to be a really hard test to try and come off like a heel against Roman Reigns, who everyone hates.
Yeah, because within the match, he won't be able to do anything inside the match that will make the crowd pissed at him. It's only during promos he'll be able to get the crowd pissed at him.
Unless he just does the Rock thing and keeps cutting promos every time he's got the advantage.
Yeah, he could do that.
Which actually would be pretty great.
That, or just refuse to wrestle. Like, just get himself disqualified and leave. And just not give the fans a match. But
I don't know, I feel like that wouldn't turn them against him in favor of Roman Reigns.
That's true, yeah.
So much as just, annoy them in general.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I also like that Sami Zayn acknowledged that he almost has no purpose on Raw.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out really well. Like, I feel for the guy because he should have something going for him right now. Like, he should have an ongoing story. But it worked out really well that he acknowledged that it was just like, oh, like, I kind of went nowhere after all of that. Like, I built all that momentum and it never went anywhere.
They really need actually to make a trade at this point, I think.
With SmackDown?
Within the next month or so, there's a bunch of guys who don't do anything on Raw.
Yep.
That would really help SmackDown.
Yep.
And then you could just have make it seem like a blockbuster trade where SmackDown sends over John Cena for Sami Zayn and Cesaro.
Yeah.
And it seems like a huge deal, but then you actually get two guys that could really help SmackDown because their depth problem is with men's singles wrestlers.
Yeah.
And baby faces particularly.
Oh yeah, they have nothing. For baby faces, all they've got is really Ziggler and Cruz, and Ziggler is just friggin' spinning tires at this point. Even as much as the crowd has been behind him before, I feel like the crowd is not nearly as behind him as they used to be. And he's
I also love that you forgot that their top babyface even exists.
Oh right, Ambrose. Is he really? He didn't really act he hasn't acted like a babyface all that much in the recent times. Also, I just am bored of almost everything he's doing.
But yeah, the thing that wasn't boring was Nia Jax and Alicia Fox's backstage segment.
Oh god, no, that was amazing.
Which had the bonus of reminding me that Alicia Fox was on Raw because I forgot.
Yeah, I did too.
I don't think she has been since the draft.
I don't. Did they draft her, or was it one of those things where they just yeah, and she's on now? This is the one who picked up after the draft.
Thing on the network where they split up everyone else who wasn't on TV.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, I just love that. Having actually Nia Jax move into a story with an actual person on the roster is probably good for her.
Yeah.
But Alicia Fox trying to go back to the crazy character that she did for a month and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And freak out. But then to immediately start to panic after she hit Nia in the face with whatever that box was.
I think it was a box of tissues or something. I just loved the whole bit was awesome just because it really set up Nia as not necessarily evil, but just as someone that's yeah, I'm big, and she's a bully. She's a perfect bully. She likes just knocking people around and crushing their dreams and hopes and ruining their day. And it was awesome. And then Alicia was just crazy Alicia.
And I'm also impressed impressed that she managed to both not react at all to the box hitting her right in the nose.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then also literally shove Alicia Fox out of her shoes at the end of this segment.
Yeah. That was such a great segment.
By the end of that segment, Alicia Fox just looked like the yelling woman on Cops.
Yeah, well, especially when no one was there and she was
garbage.
Yeah, she's just throwing around tissues
and then just yelling down the hallway.
Yeah, it was so weird, but it was good fun. Also, again, an odd side note: her friend didn't look like she was a wrestler in that ring. Like just what she was wearing, it looked like they just literally found someone in the audience and was like, "Yeah, you can take a bump."
That would actually be really funny, but I can't really comment on her wardrobe because I totally skipped that. So I skipped the squash matches.
Oh, she was just wearing jean shorts, some regular shoes, socks, and she had on just a small tank top.
Just so she's Lady John Cena?
Yeah. But at least John Cena, I guess, has stuff going on with his wardrobe that indicates he's, merchandise and marketing, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but Cena's developed a very distinguishable look. But yeah, she's like what Cena was when he first came out and first debuted. Just doesn't look like he's a wrestler.
When Cena first debuted, he had the regular trunks that just made it really obvious how weirdly shaped his butt is.
Oh yeah, right.
Like a shelf.
I forgot about that.
His legs.
I was thinking more of his bucket hat days, his weird bucket hat days.
Yeah, but yeah, go look at the original Cena's gear, because he's weird looking in normal gear.
Yeah. Oh, before we leave talking about Raw, there's one last thing I want to touch on Raw before we go into SmackDown.
All right.
I'm sad it wasn't used this last Raw, but I'm hoping it'll happen eventually when Rollins and Triple H confront each other about what happened. But I really hope that they use this story. This is the one good thing I'm going to take out of this story for sure, is I really hope they use it to give Rollins a different finisher than the pedigree, because I just don't think the pedigree suits him. And it would be a good poignant way of cementing his face turn for him to use a different finisher than the pedigree.
I do really like that he made a point of beating Jericho with the pedigree on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it was a subtle thing that they actually called attention to instead of ignoring it.
Yep. Yeah, the announcing crew did a good job on that.
Hopefully he comes up with something new.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably won't let him, but it'd be great if he kept using that the small package driver that he used in ROH and pulled out on SummerSlam.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, that is a good one.
Kill a third of the roster with that.
Yeah, sacrifices have to be made to make good television. So.
Also, there's a chunk of the roster that I think it might be physically impossible for him to do that too.
Yeah, just too many big guys.
Yeah, he's not doing that to Braun Strowman.
No, not anytime soon, at least. Unless he goes and gets all John Cena fit. He's not going to be able to pull that stuff off.
But even then, Braun Strowman's a foot taller than him.
Yeah, and how do you small package a Braun Strowman?
So, is that it for Raw?
I think that's all we got for Raw, yeah. So, moving on to SmackDown.
So, SmackDown, we're going to talk probably in more depth, because we're going to do some Backlash predictions at the end of this.
Yep.
But on this week's episode, I actually really like this week's episode.
Same.
The main event being a promo, I always am not a fan of.
No, that was...
especially because SmackDown's main events have been really good when they've had matches there.
Yep. Yeah, it was a kind of a... it wasn't a bad promo, it just... it ended on a slower note than the rest of the night was.
Well, it doesn't help that AJ Styles has... He doesn't play well off of Dean Ambrose's not caring about anything character.
Yeah.
The AJ Styles character, as it's presented now, where he's just sort of like a prick who wants to take trophies and be acknowledged as the best guy there.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the storytelling logic that would put that against a guy who just doesn't care, but it also hurts his ability to cut an interesting promo. When the guy's just like, whatevs.
Yeah, it's like Dean Ambrose is exactly the foil to every like schoolyard bully, which is pretty much what AJ Styles is playing. Like he was perfect against Cena because Cena felt the need to react and interact with everything he said and like took things seriously when AJ Styles wasn't taking anything seriously, but then when you pit AJ against someone that doesn't take anything seriously and doesn't care about anything, it doesn't work.
But yeah, so the stuff that did work for me, I really liked the opening promo with the women.
Yep. Yeah, that was great.
Becky Lynch came out and actually got to cut a promo and not just do like weird puns on commentary.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
Oh yeah, she's
actually,
a great promo.
Addressed the fact that people turn on her all the time, but maybe all the problems she's had, if they're just leading her to the women's title, then everything was worth it.
Yeah. I've always I've enjoyed Lynch a lot. I think she's been a lot of times underrated by not necessarily the fans, but underrated by whoever's in charge of stories in WWE because they've been delegating her to kind of like second fiddle. Which, to be fair, they had a lot of good women. So I am really happy that with SmackDown she'll get a chance to shine because yeah, her promo skills are really top notch when she's given the chance to actually talk because she doesn't sound scripted. She doesn't she has a character, but her character works with who she is. Like it feels very real. So I've always really enjoyed her, and I'm glad to see that come out. Like especially the whole first moment with her turning the three girls on each other, and it felt natural the way she turned the three girls on each other because all three were really good at working that too, especially Carmella and Alexa Bliss.
And then the veteran and Natty is like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fall for this. I've seen people do this before.
Yeah, that was like that whole entire skit and moment was great. Really well done.
Also, Alexa Bliss is going to be like an A+ promo.
Oh, yeah,
as long as she just keeps getting reps.
Yeah, she is, I would say, probably the strongest female promo of any of the female talent.
I could say, like, peak Charlotte is probably better than her.
Yep.
But Charlotte still hasn't found the consistency.
No, because
I mean, Alexa Bliss might not have it either because she doesn't really talk a ton.
No.
But I really liked her promo tonight.
Yeah, her promo was great. And sure, her entire character and like her demeanor in the ring and all of her moveset to go along with her character works like just wonderfully. Like she's got really everything down.
The teams work together in the 6-man or 6-woman tag.
Yep.
Later on in the show, that was my favorite match on the show as far as wrestling quality.
Yeah, I think that one was easily the strongest.
And I like that they're managing to give the girls who need it a little bit of a push in those matches. Like Alexa Bliss got to do she got to show a lot of her offense.
Yeah.
And Carmella got to look good.
Mm-hmm.
But they managed to also blend in that, like, Carmella really wasn't good enough to beat Nikki without cheating.
Yeah.
So I like that they managed to advance essentially every women's story that they've got going in one match in a way that didn't feel forced, like it did on Raw with the Universal title thing.
Yeah. Yeah, which felt... Yeah, it was a complete shift. Like, everything just worked naturally. Like, it was really, really, really strong storytelling. I was really impressed by it. Really want more of it. Like, SmackDown, that's always my highlights right now, it's pretty much the women's and the tag divisions.
Moving right along,
yes.
We got a bunch of developments in the tag division.
Yes,
that
perfect
are
little
going to affect
segue.
the tournament. So we've got a new heel Usos team.
Yeah.
After the best, it wasn't the best match, but it was the best thing on SmackDown.
Yeah, it was the highlight of the night for me.
Just completely squashing the Usos,
and
the Usos fully turning heel finally.
Yep. And I loved how many chances they gave you to be like, no, they're still the Usos we know, like because with the handshake, you're like, oh yeah, it's the Usos we know. Then the attack, and you're, oh, maybe not. And then after the match, when they went out for the handshake again, you're like, well, maybe they'll just let them, like, maybe they're just gonna have them frustrated because the Usos wouldn't turn heel, and then bam, like not even a little heel, like full heel, which was amazing.
Yeah, and then they totally like. I also loved that you didn't have anyone on commentary just like doing the blind support of the heels thing. Like even JBL was saying, there's no place in sports for purposely trying to injure.
Yep.
A guy who just beat you. Like that's not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
everyone on commentary turns on the heels. It actually does a really good job making them seem like bad guys in a way that WWE doesn't always fully commit to.
No. It's rare when they, like, it's typically you only see that on pay-per-view events, and that's only in the most realistic of situations, like when someone is cut open and bleeding, then the commentary will all support whoever is actually injured, but they rarely do it for an actual kayfabe spot, so it was really nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing this heel Uso team going forward.
Yeah,
they got really stale for a while.
Oh god,
they were holding up the tag division for like 2 years.
Yeah, they ran through their entire bag of tricks.
Like they didn't get anything.
No, and they're a solid team. Like they're great in the ring. They have good chemistry together. They work well as a tag team. It's just when you only have one tag team that can kind of perform, and a rotating cast of sometimes good performers and most of the time just mediocre performers, it's really tough.
I mean, for 2 years they were tasked with, all right, carry these guys to a decent match.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do that 4 more times.
Yeah.
Okay, now carry these other guys to a decent match. And okay, we'll do that 5 more times.
Yeah.
And they did that for like 2 years. So finally giving them something fresh to do is it's cool. And like a lot of stuff on SmackDown, it feels like it's got new life with the brand split that wasn't there and probably wouldn't have been there did they not have this extra show they needed to fill.
Yeah,
with the set rosters.
Yeah, that entire tag division has been great at elevating so many guys, giving so many guys opportunities, and just showcasing different teams, different dynamics, different characters that we, again, you wouldn't have gotten before the brand split.
That's an interesting point, because I think going into the brand split, it really looked like SmackDown was going to be garbage.
Yeah.
Because they had no depth on their roster.
Yeah.
But really, as it's turned out, their roster it doesn't have the top end.
No.
You don't have your A-level, high-quality, big stars on the top end, but all of the divisions feel fairly fleshed out, particularly the women and the tag teams. Any of those women, you could make a case for them being the champion, and you wouldn't seem crazy.
No.
Same with the tag teams. You could make a case for any of those teams, and they all come off as competitive.
Yeah.
Whereas Raw has turned into it's so top heavy.
Yeah.
In all of the divisions except for the men's singles.
Yeah.
But even then, it does still feel top heavy because they don't use half of what they have.
Yeah. Yeah, and the guys that are still guys like even Zayn, it's Zayn is a perfect guy that you can throw into the top card with a good story and not worry about Hobbs. and not worry about him losing face for losing, and yet they're not. They're just deciding to keep him down, doing nothing, like with no stories. They're not developing any stories outside of the title picture. Like right now, all of Raw, the entire top card, there is no stories beyond titles because even the Cesaro Sheamus thing and ultimately comes down to the title.
Yeah, and it's like it's stupid because they're clearly going to end up wrestling like Rusev or something for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think SmackDown has been really enjoyable for me to watch because it feels like everyone matters in a way that it very much does not on Raw. Like there's still a clear definition of where guys are slotted. There's that morass in the mid card. There's the guys that could feasibly be champion, and then the other divisions are the champions, and there's only really one reasonable seeming contender at any given time.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else for SmackDown, or do you want to move on to the Backlash pick'ems?
Yeah, let's move on to Backlash pick'ems. So, because that'll cover anything else we missed with the actual SmackDown episode.